continue to focus most of their energy on fighting coronavirus in the face of a second wave. And with that, the hospital has postponed some medical procedures. We go to News 11's Crystal Jimenez with more tonight. Crystal.
This is the second time the hospital has put elective surgeries on hold since the start of the pandemic in March, but there are some exceptions. In November, YRMC announced it was limiting any procedure requiring a patient to stay overnight. This as a number of coronavirus cases began to gradually rise a second time. Just last month, the hospital determined it would only perform elective surgeries that cannot be put on pause for fear of causing serious health problems. To name a few.
Emergency surgeries would be if you had a bowel obstruction, if you had, let's say, some perforation, or if you had a fracture, hip fracture. Those can't delay. On the women's side, of course, it's C-sections, right? So we don't delay any of those. We still do cases.
Procedures for people with cancer also not delayed. Anders says your doctor is who determines whether or not a surgery is needed right away or can hold off longer.
The physician determines that the patient cannot delay. In other words, so it doesn't have to be a huge case that comes to the emergency department. It could be any case where the physician says, I really cannot delay this care of this patient. It will impact them, so we go ahead and proceed.
But for one Yuma local, he claims the surgery to replace his pacemaker was canceled by his doctor and hasn't been rescheduled.
He said, well, the administrator at the hospital had turned around and said that they declared no elective surgeries again for the month of January, and that he would have to push them to get my pacemaker replaced this month.
Brinkley says almost a week later, he hasn't heard back from his doctor. Meanwhile, he says his pacemaker has 2% of life left.
Undue stress. You just don't know, well, is it going to quit or is it not going to quit? You just don't know.
YRMC says it evaluates its COVID numbers twice daily to determine when elective surgeries can return back to normal. It says it will also reach out to Brinkley to help him with his situation. Reporting in Yuma, Crystal Jimenez, News 11.
Crystal, thanks. Turning to some news out of California tonight, a new campaign is asking for the recall of California Governor Gavin Newsom. The governor has received criticism in the past